Welcome back, pre-algebra students. Today we're getting into some fun things. We're going to start working on unit multipliers. And unit multipliers are a way to help you go from one unit of measure to another unit of measure without having to quantify things in your head. Instead, it puts everything on paper, and it is a format that you can follow every single time, and you'll always get it right. Okay? So let me introduce you to that. We have words that we use for unit of measures like feet, inches, miles, yards, even meters, right? Kilometers, centimeters. We have all of those different types of measurements. And we call each combination a denominant number. The words, this is the number, like 4 feet. That's the denominant number, and this is the unit of measure. All right, these are the units of measure. So what we would do in the denominant number, let's say 32 miles per hour, mph, we would say the units are miles per hour. The basic unit of length in the U.S. customary system are inch, which is written IN period, feet, which is FT, yards, which is written YD, and miles, which is written MI. Notice inch, we've gone over this before, inch has a period, nothing else does, because these are not words. If you write this by itself, it's a word. It's the word in. So to tell the difference that this is an abbreviation for inches, we put the period on it. Okay? All right. So I'm going to give you some reference information that I would like for you to write down. So we have 12 inches in 1 foot. You need to put this on the back cover of your notebook because you're going to be using it a lot. All right, this is your units of measure. 12 inches in 1 foot, 3 feet in 1 yard. You have in 1 mile, 5,280 feet. Let's see what else. In 1 yard, there's 36 inches in 1 yard. Also, you could use that unit of measure. All right, but that's the basic. We don't use this one very much. That's your basic unit of measures right there. All right, and that is what we're going to be using most of the time. In weight, that's in distance, right? This is all distance. But in weight, let me mark that out. This is distance. In weight, unit of measure, we have pounds, ounces, and tons. So we have 16 ounces. We write that OZ is 1 pound, and we write that LB. And 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. So that is our weight that we use in the U.S. system of measurement. So be sure to write those down on the back cover of your notebook. If you do not, you're going to constantly be looking them up and asking for them. So let me show you how to convert a unit of length from one unit to another unit. So we're going to convert 5 feet to inches. And some of you are probably saying, well, that's easy, Miss Tracy. You just multiply 5 times 12. Yes, you do. But there is a certain way to do it so that when it gets more complicated than feet to inches, you can still do it and not mess up. And we're going to do it that way. So what you do is you write 5, and we're going to treat feet the unit of measure as if it were a variable. And we're going to turn this into a fraction by putting it all over 1. And then we're going to multiply. And what we're going to multiply is we're going to multiply to get to inches. And because feet is a variable, that makes it a factor. And when we know in order to cancel out feet and go to inches, in order to cancel something, we have to have one set on the top and one set on the bottom. So we have to put our unit of measure reference in place such that feet is on the bottom. So our unit of measure reference is that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And now that we have foot on the bottom, we could treat it like a variable and we can cancel it out. We're factoring and canceling. So now we can solve because our unit of measure, inches, is what we wanted it to be. We wanted to end in inches, so we can stop and calculate. So 5 times 12, 1 times 1 is 1, and all we have left for our unit of measure is inches. So our answer is going to be 5 times 12 divided by 1. That's going to be 60 inches. Miss Tracy, that's a whole lot of math when I knew all I had to do was multiply 5 times 12. Yes, I get that. But what if you had to go from feet to miles? Could you do that? Could you tell me that? No, not without using a unit multiplier. So let's do that. We are now going to go, I have 3,247 feet, and I need to go from feet to miles. How many miles is that? Can you do that in your head? Can you just multiply it times? No, you can't, because this is smaller. But we can still use our method that we just learned, and it will still be correct. So we're going to turn that into a fraction, 3,247, and we'll treat the unit of measure like a variable. Put it over 1, and then we're going to multiply. And because we have feet in the top, now we're going to put feet in the bottom. So 1 mile is the same as 5,280 feet. And we can cancel that unit of measure because we have it in the top and the bottom. So now our answer is 3,247 divided by 5,280 miles. Now, in order to do this, what we're going to do is pull up our calculator. And with these big numbers, I have no problem with you using the calculator at all. In fact, there are certain problems that you just really need to go ahead and use the calculator on, and this is one of those. 3,247 divided by 5,280 equals 0.61496212121. So we have a repeating decimal here. So we could write all that out, or we could round it to 2 decimal places, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to look right here, and this is a 4. So it's not 5 or greater, so I can't round up. So I have 0.61 miles in 3,247 feet. That's 0.61 of a mile. That's just a little bit over half. Just a little bit more than 6/10. So that is how you do that. You can calculate distances that are bigger or smaller. You can convert them fairly easily if you use this pattern. Whatever the unit is up here, you're going to find your reference that contains that up here, and you're going to make sure that you write it in the bottom. It is okay to flip it back and forth as long as you have one in the top and one in the bottom. If I had written this originally, 5,280 feet over 1 mile, this is still right, because this is not dependent upon It's not a fraction, it's a reference. It is a ratio. So that ratio tells me that this is equal to this. These equal 1. Right? 1 foot. 12 inches equals 1 foot. All right, let us actually do a practice problem. So I'm going to clear this. Make sure you have written all of this in the back cover or on the back cover of your notebook. If you haven't, you are going to be lost. All right? Clear the page. So let's look at 23.1. We need to convert 420 feet to yards. All right, so let me get my unit of reference here. I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. That's my reference. So I'm going to write it down. 420 feet over 1 times, and I'm going to put feet in the bottom. So yard is going to go on top, and 3 feet is going to go in the bottom. So I can cancel feet, and now I can do the math. 420 divided by 3, and that's going to be yards. So I have 42 divided by 3 is 14. So 140 yards. That is my answer. All right, let's do another one. We'll do it just right below here because these don't take up a whole lot of room just yet. We're going to use a unit multiplier to convert 72 inches to feet. So I need my unit of reference for inches and feet. I know that 12 inches equals 1 foot. So now I can write my fraction, 72 in over 1 times, and I need to put in inches in the bottom, so 1 foot on the top and 12 inches in the bottom. I can cancel inches, and now I can multiply. 72 times 1 is 72, divided by 12, because 1 times 12 is 12, and that's going to be in the unit measure of feet. 72 divided by 12 is 6, so that is 6 feet. All right, it's pretty straightforward. It's not super difficult. Once you figure out the pattern, then you can convert any unit of measure. So we have 2 more. Let's try those. Clear the page. 23.3. We're going to convert 4.6 miles to feet. So we need a unit of reference, and that's going to be 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. So now I set it up. 4.6 miles over 1 times 5,280 feet over 1 mile. These cancel. So 4.6 times 5,280 tells me how many feet we have. And that is going to be, I'm going to do it on the calculator because I cannot do that in my head. And also, sometimes I do it on the calculator so you can see me do the calculation just a little bit faster. 4.6 times 5,280 equals 24,288 feet. So 24,288 feet. How awesome is that? Let's do 23.4. We're going to use a unit multiplier to convert 4 tons to pounds. So we need our unit of reference for weight. So I know that there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So we're going to write that as a fraction, 4 ton over 1. And now I'm going to write my unit of reference, 2,000 pound over 1 ton. The ton cancels, and I'm left with 4 times 2,000 pounds. We can do that in our head. That is 8,000 pounds. And that is all we have for lesson 23. If you have any questions at all about unit conversion, please feel free to ask. There is a pattern. You start with what you are given, and you multiply until you get to what is being asked of you. We make sure that we turn what we're given into a fraction, and when we write our next fraction, that the unit of measure in the numerator here is the unit of measure in the denominator in our next fraction. All right, that's all we have for lesson 23. I will see you in lesson 24.